Hi everyone. So lately I've been seeing a lot of different questions regarding date formula in Notion, kind of like how you can manipulate the existing dates, right? So I compiled some of the list of formulas that I use the most and just show some of the use case to you on how you can use it. So first of all, we had add or subtract date. So how you can do this is that you can actually have select a date here. So for example, March 24th, right? In here we can actually subtract the date. So date subtract prop date 1 days. So what this means is that, so based on this date is selected, so subtract it by 1 day. So if I put 10, actually subtract by for 10 days. So other than just subtracting days, you can actually subtract, for example, let me show you, this is kind of how the formula looks like. And then select the prop date. And then you select the number itself. So maybe I want to subtract 5, right? You can actually subtract, let's say for example, minutes. So, because we don't have minutes here, right? So let's say I select a time, and then put maybe 2 p.m. So you can see like it's actually minus by 5 minutes. So you can select like month thing. So you can see like subtracted by months. So this is kind of how you can use date subtract. Or the alternative is you can actually use date add, which functions the same. It's just that it's a one is subtract, one is add. So yeah, that's it for the first example. The second one I use it a lot is to check if the date is today. So what do we need this for? So one of the more common example is that I actually sometimes filter it so that it only shows item that's actually today. So I think nowadays you can kind of do it with, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, nowadays you can just filter right, date is by today. But there are still some use cases where I need maybe formulas to kind of check. So if it's today, then only to show certain things. So this is what I use it for. So my favorite formula normally I use is basically just format date, and then prop date, and then YYMMDD. So what is YYMMDD, right? Maybe just to showcase a little bit. So essentially the format date formula is kind of how you write it like this. And then you select this property here. So prop date, and then basically what I wrote YMDD. So this is kind of how it shows up. It's 23, so this is the year, 7 is the month, and then 6 is actually the day. So why do I format it like this, right? So the idea is that year is always the highest hierarchy, so 2, 3, 0, 7, so it's the month, and then 0, 6. So it always makes sure that when I compare with other dates, right? For example, in this case, I want to compare with, let me just create another formula just so to make it easier for you to understand this. So I want to compare with today's date, right? Because I want to know whether it is today. Okay, let me just change the date here. So this is 4, right? So you can see it's 2, 3, 0, 7, 0, 4. So normally how I kind of compare between them is just, I'll just do an equal. So is this equals to this? If it's equal, means it's today. If not, that means it's not. So that's kind of how we do it. In this case, it wouldn't really matter too much. But if you want to do like subtraction, like you want to see how many days left, how many days they're being apart, so you can kind of use this formula to kind of do it. So that's why I normally use this way to kind of check it. Okay, so the next one. So next we have the start or end date. So this probably, I'm not sure it's lesser known, but initially like sometimes Notion you can actually select 2 dates, right? So you can see here is July 4th and then July 29th. So sometimes you just want to see what is the start date, what is the end date. So you can actually use a formula. So basically just type start and then prop date. That's how you can see it. Similarly for end date and prop date and that's how you can have it. And then otherwise I think most people use Notion because we like it to be more aesthetically pleasing. So I tend to like kind of format my dates. So what I use this for is let's say for example I just show in gallery. So if it's gallery here, so I want to show the date. So if I just select the normal date, it kind of looks very ugly, like just July 6th. So normally I have like a format date. You can see like this format here. So Thursday, July 6th. You can even add like emojis you want, like for example, dates. So you can even put emojis in the formula. So let me just show example. Just to make it more lively in general. So how can you do this, right? So actually similar to what we had earlier. So let me just remove the emoji first. just to make it less complicated. So I'm using the same formula as earlier show you, format date, and then I'm selecting the property date. So in case of, instead of using the YYMMDD, right? So what I'm doing here is a little bit different. So I actually type, you see this tree is small d. So this actually, once you type it out, right, it represents Thursday, so THU. And then MMM basically shows July, and then DD is 06. So you can kind of play around this. Okay, let me just kind of remove it. So if I just leave it blank, right, you can see there's nothing here. So you can kind of play around the formula. So I think you should be able to find online some of the format, the common one. But you can see if I type 3D, it become THU, and then 4, it becomes Thursday. So I can maybe like do like slash. So you can actually basically type anything here. But the goal is you want to make it look proper, right? So maybe I can put like a bracket here. And then I want to know, maybe I want to know the year. So you can put caption small letter thing. Okay, just one Y. So you kind of see like Thursday 2023. So maybe I want a month now. So maybe I can add a bracket. I just want to show the month. So month is M. It should show up here. Let me see. Okay, this M is July. So that's how you show M. If you show like lower letter, right? Lower letter, lowercase. So this is actually month. So it's a bit more. There's some variety here. You can kind of show. Let's say I want to show the time, right? So it actually shows like hour. So HH means hour. So 12, and then I can put the minutes. Basically, MM is a minute. So you can do like stuff like this, like 12:00. So you kind of mix and match and kind of format the way you want it to. So this is kind of how you can have it. And then the end result will be something like this in the gallery. So I'll just have this. It just looks better, in my opinion. And then the next one I have this is, I really like this a lot. I often use this for my clients in terms of setting up a dashboard for them inside Notion, because Notion do not have charts, right? But for some of them, the use case is more simple. So in here you can see I have something called dashboard database. So I just created one entry here called dropdown. So you can see there's a year here. So basically what I can do is I can select the year, right? You can see the total amount is being updated. So it's just like 2022, you can see it being updated. So what it's actually referencing is actually referencing to this invoice database at the bottom here. So in this here invoice, we have example 1 to 5. So you can see they have two different years. So one is 2023 and then 2022. So then they have all their different amounts. So what I'm doing right now is basically when I select the year, right, it's actually selecting the amount that's for that specific year. In this case, it's 2,000 and then 400. So you can see the total is 2,400. So how this actually works is that, so it's a bit more complex compared to the previous use case. So the first thing is, So the first thing is that I have this relation database. So I'm basically just relating it back to this dashboard here. So you can see, let me just show you. So relations, example 5a, basically this dashboard database here. And then just one page. So I'm just selecting all the drop down. So basically it's item. And I just filter it so that I'll always automatically select it. So normally I'll just hide this, but this is more on a tutorial, right? Just to showcase on what you can do. And then here we have year. So this is basically just a roll up. So what I'm doing here is actually I'm just roll up the year that I selected in the drop down. So in this case, when I select 2022, right, you can see the roll up changing. So why do I need this, right? So essentially why I need this is that I need to have this last column here, property, show amount if same year. So I need to check whether the selection is the same year. So if it's 2023, so this kind of formula checking. So format date, year. So year basically is Y. So if year equals to, so if this date, right, the year is equals to the property year here, then you show the amount. If not, just make it 0. So essentially we're comparing these two dates here. So if this date equals to this year, then we'll show the amount. If not, then we won't show it. So it becomes 0. And then the final last step is basically just do a roll up here. So this is actually a roll up property. Roll up the invoice property database and then show amount if the same year and then submit. That's kind of how you have the final value. And then normally how I make it more aesthetically pleasing is basically we have the dashboard here, and then I have the total amount. So this is kind of how you can see the final value. So I'm not sure why you cannot select as US dollar. I'm pretty sure previously you can. Maybe there's a glitch. But yeah, this is kind of how you can do it. You can even have the drop down here, the year here, right? So you can put it up here. You can even select the drop down here, and then automatically just change it. So for my clients' work, I even have examples like for selecting all of them, or even specific month or specific quarter. So those are all possible. But for these examples, I'll just keep it a bit more simple. And yeah, that's how you can do some of the tricks using formulas to change the date properties in Notion. So thanks for watching, and let me know if there's anything that you would like to learn, and happy to provide more tutorial related to this. Thank you.